Have you ever felt stuck knowing exactly what you need to do but still finding yourself frozen, waiting for the perfect moment? You're not alone. Most people struggle, not because they lack ideas, talent or opportunities, but because they hesitate to act. They overthink, delay, and wait for motivation, only to watch time slip away. The truth is, waiting never brings results, only action does. And here's the secret. Motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. This audiobook is your guide to breaking free from the cycle of procrastination, excuses, and endless planning. By the time you're done listening, you'll understand how to push yourself into motion, even when you don't feel like it. If you've been holding back on starting your business, working on your health, learning a skill, or chasing your dream, this is your wake-up call. Today is the day to stop thinking and start moving. Chapter 1. Why action beats motivation every time. The world is full of people who wait. They wait for the right timing, the right mood, the right financial situation, the right level of confidence. But those who achieve greatness understand something very simple. Waiting is the silent killer of progress. When you take immediate action, even small imperfect steps, you create momentum, and momentum is more powerful than raw motivation. Think about it. When was the last time you started something reluctantly, perhaps even dreading it, only to find yourself completely absorbed once you began? That is the magic of action. It transforms resistance into flow. Psychologists often describe this as the activation energy of human behavior. Much like it takes a spark to ignite a fire, it takes a single step to break the barrier of inertia. Once you've crossed that threshold, your brain shifts gears. Suddenly, what felt overwhelming a few moments ago becomes manageable. Take the gym as an example. The hardest part isn't lifting the weights. It's putting on your shoes and walking through the door. Once you start, your body adapts, your energy increases, and you're glad you showed up. The same principle applies to writing, building a business, having a difficult conversation, or making a bold decision. The action itself builds the very energy and confidence you thought you needed beforehand. Another reason action beats motivation is because action creates clarity. Many people sit paralyzed because they think they don't know enough, or they don't see the whole path ahead. But clarity rarely comes before you start. It's revealed step by step as you move forward. If you wait to see the entire road, you'll remain stuck at the starting line. Let's imagine two individuals. The first one spends months reading books, watching videos and mapping out a perfect strategy. The second person takes a simple, imperfect step right away, making a phone call, sending an email, launching a draft product, or writing the first page of a book. Who do you think learns faster? The second person. Why? Because action provides real-world feedback. It tells you what works, what doesn't, and how to adjust. Thinking alone never gives you that. There's another hidden truth here. Motivation is overrated. People chase it like a drug, hoping one day they'll wake up feeling ready. But the most successful individuals in history didn't wait to feel ready. They acted despite fear, discomfort, and uncertainty. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward anyway. The irony is, when you take action first, motivation often follows naturally. You start to feel accomplished, proud, energized, and more confident, which then reinforces your desire to continue. Action and motivation create a loop, but action always comes first. So if you find yourself stuck, ask not, how can I feel more motivated? But instead, what small action can I take right now? Send that message. Write one sentence. Do 5 push-ups. Record a 30-second video. That single action is the spark. Remember this. Life rewards the movers, not the thinkers. Those who wait are always left behind, while those who act create opportunities, growth and transformation. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to break through the mental resistance that stops you from taking that first step, and how to trick your brain into doing what it resists most. Chapter 2. Breaking through mental resistance. If Chapter 1 revealed the truth that action comes before motivation, then this chapter is about the invisible enemy that stops you from acting in the first place. Mental resistance. Mental resistance is the voice in your head that whispers excuses. It's the sudden fatigue that hits when you're about to start. It's the urge to scroll on your phone instead of opening your laptop. It's the fear of failure disguised as "I'll do it tomorrow." And until you learn how to break through it, you'll always feel trapped in cycles of procrastination and self-doubt. The nature of resistance. Resistance is not laziness. It's protection. Your brain is wired for survival, not success. It wants to keep you safe, comfortable, and away from potential pain. That's why when you think about starting something new or challenging, your brain raises alarms. It exaggerates the risks, minimizes the rewards, and convinces you to avoid action. But here's the key insight. Resistance is strongest right before you start. It's like standing at the edge of a cold swimming pool. Your mind screams, "Don't jump in, it's freezing." Yet the second you dive, the discomfort fades, and you wonder why you hesitated for so long. The 5-second window. One of the most powerful strategies to beat resistance is what psychologists call the 5-second rule. Whenever you feel the urge to delay, count down from 5 and move immediately. Why does this work? Because it cuts off overthinking. Resistance thrives when you give it time to talk you out of action. The longer you wait, the louder the excuses grow. Acting quickly hijacks that process and pushes you forward before fear can tighten its grip. Imagine you wake up and know you should exercise. The moment your alarm rings, your brain says, "Stay in bed. You're too tired." If you allow that dialogue to continue, you'll snooze. But if you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and sit up instantly, you've broken the chain. Small as it seems, that single decision rewires your brain to favor action over hesitation. Shrinking the task. Another trick is to shrink the action down to the smallest possible step. Resistance feeds on overwhelm. If the task looks huge, your brain wants to run. But if you break it into something ridiculously small, like writing just one sentence, doing one push-up, or spending 5 minutes on research, your brain no longer sees it as a threat. Here's the magic. Once you start small, momentum takes over. You tell yourself, "I'll only write one sentence," but end up writing a page. You commit to just 5 minutes at the gym, and end up staying for 30. The secret isn't the size of the action. It's starting in the first place. Emotional resistance versus logical resistance. Not all resistance is the same. Sometimes it's emotional, driven by fear of failure, rejection, or judgment. Other times it's logical, caused by confusion or lack of clarity. The solution depends on the type. Emotional resistance requires courage. You must act despite fear. This is where courage-building habits like affirmations, visualization, and small wins matter most. Logical resistance requires clarity. If you don't know what step to take, break the problem down until you find something concrete to do. Confusion often hides a simple action you haven't identified yet. The pain of inaction. One powerful way to overcome resistance is to shift how you view pain. Most people avoid action because they fear the short-term discomfort it brings. But the truth is, inaction carries far more pain in the long run. Think about health. Skipping the workout feels comfortable today, but the years of low energy, illness, or regret that follow are far more painful. Think about career growth. Delaying your dreams feels safe in the moment, but the decades of unfulfilled potential are crushing. When you clearly see the cost of inaction, resistance loses its power. The identity shift. Here's the ultimate breakthrough. Resistance weakens when you change how you see yourself. If you identify as someone who procrastinates, resistance will always win. But if you decide I am someone who takes action, even when it's hard, your behavior will start aligning with that identity. Every time you push through resistance, you cast a vote for your new identity. Each action reinforces the belief, this is who I am. Over time, resistance shrinks, because your actions and your self-image are in harmony. The more you study resistance, the more you'll realize it's not an enemy to be feared. It's simply a signpost. It shows up when you're about to do something important. In fact, the greater the resistance, the greater the growth on the other side. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to design an environment that makes action automatic, so you're not relying on willpower alone, but creating a system that pushes you forward. Chapter 3. Designing an environment that demands action. We've established that action requires breaking through resistance, but willpower alone is fragile. It runs out when you're tired, stressed or overwhelmed. That's why the smartest achievers don't depend only on discipline. They build environments that pull them into action, almost effortlessly. In this chapter, you'll discover how to engineer your surroundings so taking action becomes the natural path, not the uphill battle. Why environment shapes behavior. Think of your environment as invisible hands guiding your daily choices. When unhealthy snacks are on the counter, you eat them. When your phone is buzzing with notifications, you reach for it. When your workspace is cluttered, your mind follows suit. Here's the truth. Your environment always wins over your intentions. You may intend to eat healthy, work productively, or stay focused, but if your surroundings invite distraction, you'll slip. That's why creating an action-friendly environment is one of the most powerful life upgrades you can make. Remove friction from good habits. One of the simplest hacks is to remove friction between you and the action you want to take. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Want to read more? Place a book on your pillow so you see it before bed. Want to eat healthier? Chop fruits and vegetables in advance and keep them visible at eye level in the fridge. The less effort it takes to start, the more likely you are to follow through. You're not fighting your brain anymore. You're designing a path of least resistance. Increase friction for bad habits. At the same time, make it harder to slip into the behaviors that keep you stuck. Struggling with social media? Delete apps from your home screen or log out after every use. Watching too much TV? Unplug the device after each session and put the remote in another room. Overspending online? Remove saved credit card details so each purchase requires extra steps. Bad habits thrive when they're convenient. Raise the barrier, and suddenly they're less appealing. The power of triggers. Our brains run on cues. You walk into the kitchen and see coffee, suddenly you want a cup. You sit on the couch with the remote nearby, suddenly you want to watch TV. Use this to your advantage by planting positive triggers in your environment. Keep a water bottle on your desk as a trigger to stay hydrated. Use sticky notes with motivational quotes near your computer to remind you to focus. Play specific music only when working, so your brain associates the soundtrack with productivity. These small signals may seem trivial, but over time, they condition your brain to act automatically. Accountability through environment. Sometimes the most powerful environmental design is adding people. Surround yourself with others who demand more of you. Work in public spaces like libraries or co-working hubs where the social pressure of being seen keeps you from wasting time. When others are watching, excuses vanish. Accountability turns private intentions into public commitment. Create action zones. Instead of blending everything into one space, divide your environment into zones dedicated to specific action. A yoga mat left unrolled becomes your exercise corner. This zoning trains your brain to associate spaces with behaviors. When you step into the zone, action begins almost automatically. Technology as a tool, not a trap. For many people, technology is the number one source of distraction, but when used deliberately, it can become a powerful ally. Use website blockers to limit time-wasting sites. Set reminders and alarms to prompt focused work sessions. The trick is to let technology serve you, not enslave you. Every app and tool should be evaluated with one question. Does this move me closer to action, or deeper into avoidance? The environment identity loop. Here's a deeper truth. Your environment doesn't just influence your actions, it shapes your identity. If your home is filled with books, you begin to see yourself as a reader. If your workspace is tidy and minimal, you start to identify as someone organized and in control. Identity then reinforces behavior. When you see yourself as the kind of person who works out, it feels natural to exercise. When you see yourself as the type who takes initiative, action becomes part of your personality. That's why designing your environment is not just about convenience. It's about rewriting your story of who you are. Practical action steps. Here's how you can start today. Audit your environment. Walk through your home and workspace. Identify one thing that makes good habits harder, and one that makes bad habits easier. Make a swap. Remove a negative cue and replace it with a positive one. Example, remove the TV remote from your coffee table and place a notebook instead. Design a ritual space. Create one zone where you'll always take action. Whether it's a writing desk, a workout mat, or a study corner. Add accountability. Text a friend right now and ask them to check in on one goal this week. Use a 5-second trigger. Whenever you see your action cue, count down from 5 and move immediately. By reshaping your environment, you remove the constant tug of war between willpower and temptation. Instead of battling yourself, you let your surroundings push you into motion. This is how action becomes natural, not forced. Chapter 4. Building consistencies. Turning action into daily discipline. Taking action once is powerful. Taking action twice is stronger. But the real transformation happens when action becomes consistent. Anyone can push themselves once in a while. True growth comes when you show up day after day, whether you feel like it or not. In this chapter we'll uncover how to turn bursts of effort into steady, reliable discipline that compounds over time. Why consistency beats intensity. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. They push hard for a few days, then burn out, quit, and repeat the cycle. Success isn't about occasional heroic effort. It's about small, repeated actions that add up. Running one marathon won't make you healthy. Writing for 10 hours straight won't make you an author. It's the daily habits, even in small doses, that produce lasting results. Consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary progress. The myth of motivation. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is, I'll do it when I feel motivated. The truth is, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. If you wait for motivation to act, you'll be inconsistent forever. Instead, consistent people flip the equation. Action first, motivation second. They don't wait to feel inspired to write, exercise, or work. They act, and the motivation follows. Every small victory reinforces their momentum and builds a cycle of progress. Systems over goals. Goals are important. They give you direction. But goals alone are not enough. They are destinations, not roadmaps. What actually gets you there are systems. A system is write 500 words every morning. The goal is get fit. A system is work out for 30 minutes, 5 times a week. When you rely on goals, success feels distant and overwhelming. But when you rely on systems, success feels like a natural outcome of what you already do. Systems make consistency automatic. The power of rituals. Rituals are the glue that holds consistency together. They are small, repeatable behaviors that tell your brain, it's time to act. A writer makes coffee, sits at the same desk, and opens the same document every morning. An athlete laces their shoes, plays their pump-up song, and starts stretching before training. A student sharpens a pencil, sets a timer, and clears their desk before studying. These rituals create momentum. They lower the mental barrier between you and the task, making action easier to repeat. Tracking your progress. What gets measured gets managed. If you don't track your actions, it's easy to fool yourself into thinking you're consistent when you're not. Start simple. And mark an X on the calendar every day you act. Keep a journal of small daily wins. Use a habit tracking app to visualize your streak. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. Tracking keeps you honest and motivates you to keep the chain going. You'll feel proud when you see a string of actions building up, and you won't want to break it. Embracing boredom. Consistency isn't glamorous. Some days will feel boring, repetitive, or even pointless. This is where most people quit. They crave constant excitement, and when progress feels slow, they stop. But here's the truth. Boredom is a sign you're doing it right. Great athletes don't skip practice because drills are repetitive. Great musicians don't stop rehearsing scales because they've done them 1,000 times. They embrace the grind, knowing that mastery lives on the other side of repetition. Consistency means showing up even when it's not thrilling. The compound effect. Think of consistency like compound interest. A single deposit doesn't make you rich, but steady deposits over years create massive wealth. Likewise, one workout won't transform your body, but steady exercise will. Consistency multiplies results. MO is a vaults. Reading 10 pages a day, 12 books a year. Writing 500 words a day, 80,000 words in a year. About 2 full books. Saving $10 a day, over $3,000 in a year, not including interest. Small repeated actions add up to life-changing results. Designing for consistency. Here's how to set yourself up. Start small. Choose an action so small it's almost impossible to fail. Anchor it. Tie it to an existing routine, like brushing your teeth, waking up, or eating breakfast. Track it. Use a calendar, journal, or app to keep yourself accountable. Reward it. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Your brain loves rewards. Expect setbacks. Missing a day isn't failure, it's feedback. Just restart the next day. Identity and consistency. At the deepest level, consistency isn't about what you do, it's about who you are. If you tell yourself, I'm trying to be disciplined, you're leaving room for doubt. But if you say, I am disciplined, your actions begin to align with that identity. Every small act of consistency reinforces this self-image. Each workout, each page written, each dollar saved is a vote for the person you want to become. Over time, those votes add up to an unshakable identity. Consistency is the bridge between your intentions and your reality. Without it, dreams stay dreams. With it, dreams become inevitable. Chapter 5. Overcoming resistance. Winning the battle within. If you've ever set out to do something important, write a book, launch a business, start a workout routine, you've felt it. That invisible weight that makes getting started feel impossible. That voice in your head that whispers, not today, you're not ready, maybe tomorrow. This force has many names. Procrastination, fear, doubt. But the best word for it is resistance. Resistance is the enemy of progress, the invisible wall between you and action. In this chapter we'll dive deep into how resistance works, and more importantly, how you can beat it every single day. What resistance really is. Resistance isn't laziness. It's self-protection. Your brain is wired to avoid discomfort, conserve energy, and keep you safe. Anytime you step outside your comfort zone, your mind rings the alarm. It whispers excuses, creates distractions, and floods you with doubt. But here's the truth. Resistance is a sign you're on the right path. The stronger the resistance, the more meaningful the work usually is. Nobody feels resistance when scrolling social media. But when it's time to build, grow, or create, resistance shows up. Learning to act in spite of resistance is the ultimate skill. The many faces of resistance. Resistance doesn't always show up as "I don't feel like it." Sometimes it disguises itself cleverly. Perfectionism. Telling yourself, "I need to wait until it's perfect before I start." Distraction. Suddenly remembering chores, emails, or errands the moment you should focus. Over-planning. Spending hours researching, organizing, or preparing but never actually acting. Self-doubt. Convincing yourself you're not ready, not talented enough, or not qualified. Busyness. Filling your schedule with tasks that look productive, but don't move you forward. The more aware you become of these disguises, the faster you can catch resistance in the act. The first 5 minutes rule. One of the most effective weapons against resistance is shockingly simple. Commit to just 5 minutes. Tell yourself, "I don't need to finish. I just need to start." Open the document and write one sentence. Put on your shoes and stretch for 5 minutes. Make one phone call. What happens? Once you begin, momentum takes over. The hardest part is starting. By lowering the entry barrier, you slip past resistance before it can grow stronger. Action before emotion. People often wait until they feel like it. But feelings follow actions, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel confident before speaking. You speak, and confidence grows. You don't wait to feel energetic before exercising. You exercise and energy follows. You don't wait to feel inspired before writing. You write, and inspiration shows up. The key is to act regardless of how you feel. Resistance loses its power when you stop negotiating with it. Creating an anti-resistance environment. Your environment either fuels resistance or crushes it. Remove friction. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep your workspace clean. Make starting as effortless as possible. Limit distractions. Turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room. Close tabs. Resistance thrives on interruptions. Surround yourself with accountability. Share your goals with someone who will hold you to them. Join a group. Find a partner. Or hire a coach. When your environment supports your actions, resistance has fewer places to hide. The power of deadlines. Resistance thrives in open-ended time. If you have all day to finish a task, resistance will stretch itself to fill the entire day. Deadlines create urgency. Set clear time limits. I will write for 25 minutes without stopping. I will finish this task by 10 a.m. I will make 3 phone calls before lunch. Deadlines push you past hesitation and force you into execution. Reframing fear. At its core, resistance is fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of the unknown. But fear can be reframed. Instead of seeing it as a signal to stop, see it as a compass pointing you toward growth. If something scares you, it probably matters. Fear is proof that the action is meaningful. Lean into it. The small win strategy. When resistance feels overwhelming, shrink your battle. Don't aim to conquer the whole mountain in a single climb. Aim for one small step, then another, and another. Each small win builds momentum, confidence, and resilience. Resistance hates progress, no matter how tiny. The warrior mindset. Beating resistance isn't about comfort. It's about courage. Every day is a battle between your higher self, who wants growth, discipline and progress, and your lower self, who craves ease, safety and distraction. When you choose action, you strengthen your higher self. When you give in, resistance wins. Victory isn't about never feeling resistance. It's about refusing to let it control you. Resistance never goes away. Here's the sobering truth. Resistance doesn't disappear. You don't grow out of it. Even the most successful people feel it daily. The difference is, they've trained themselves to act anyway. The artist still feels fear before painting. The athlete still feels doubt before competing. The entrepreneur still feels hesitation before pitching. But they've learned the greatest lesson. Action dissolves resistance. Resistance is the dragon guarding the treasure of your potential. Every time you defeat it, you get stronger, braver, and closer to the life you want. Chapter 6. Building Momentum. Turning action into an unstoppable force. If resistance is the invisible wall holding you back, then momentum is the powerful wave that carries you forward. Momentum is the reason why some people seem to accomplish impossible feats with ease. It's not that they are more talented, smarter, or luckier. It's that they've learned to use the power of momentum to their advantage. In this chapter, we'll break down how momentum works, why it's the most underrated driver of success, and how you can create it in your own life, step by step. The physics of action. Think of momentum like physics. A heavy object is hard to push at first, but once it's moving, it takes far less energy to keep it going. Action works the same way. The hardest part of any project, habit or goal is the beginning, but once you take that first step and keep going, motion generates more motion. Each win fuels the next. Momentum doesn't just make things easier, it transforms effort into excitement. What once felt like drudgery becomes automatic, even enjoyable. Why momentum matters more than motivation. Most people rely on motivation. They wait to feel inspired before they act. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Momentum, on the other hand, creates a self-sustaining cycle. Motivation says, I feel like working, so I'll start. Momentum says, I started working, so now I feel like continuing. Once momentum is on your side, even resistance struggles to slow you down. Step 1. Start small. Build big. Momentum begins with small wins. Think of it like lighting a fire. You don't begin with a massive log, you start with kindling. Write 1 paragraph, not an entire book. Do 5 push-ups, not a full workout. Save $10, not $10,000. These tiny actions feel insignificant, but they spark momentum. The small flame grows. Over time, those small wins compound into unstoppable progress. Step 2. Create daily non-negotiables. Momentum thrives on consistency. One-off bursts of energy fade quickly. The secret is to create non-negotiable actions that you repeat every day, no matter how small. For example, write for 15 minutes every morning. Walk 10 minutes after lunch. Make 1 sales call per day. These micro habits are like laying down tracks for a train. At first, progress is slow, but as more tracks are laid, the train can go further and faster. Step 3. Stack wins early in the day. The first actions you take each morning set the tone for your entire day. That's why successful people often focus on stacking wins early. Make your bed. Drink water. Exercise. Tackle 1 important task. These small victories create an immediate sense of progress. Progress fuels confidence. Confidence fuels energy. And energy fuels momentum. Step 4. Use the power of compounding. Momentum compounds just like interest. The more consistent your actions, the more powerful the effects over time. Consider this. 1 page per day. A 36 or 5 pages a year. A full book. $10 saved daily, a $3,600 in a year, without interest. A 1% daily improvement, 37 times better in a year. Momentum isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing something consistently and letting time multiply the results. Step 5. Engineer quick feedback loops. Momentum thrives on feedback. When you see progress, even in small amounts, your brain gets hooked. Use a journal to track habits. Cross items off a checklist. Measure your workouts, your savings, your daily word count. Each time you see evidence of progress, momentum strengthens. You start wanting to keep the streak alive. Step 6. Break big goals into micro milestones. Big goals are intimidating. They create resistance. But when you break them into small milestones, you create constant opportunities for momentum. Instead of saying, I want to lose 30 pounds, say, second milestone. Walk 10,000 steps for 7 days straight. A third milestone. Cook 5 healthy meals this week. Each milestone achieved becomes fuel for the next. Step 7. Leverage emotional anchors. Momentum isn't just about logic, it's emotional too. Tie your actions to emotions and meaning. Visualize the result daily. See yourself healthier, wealthier, more confident. Anchor your actions to your identity. I'm the type of person who never misses a workout. Reward yourself for progress. No matter how small. The stronger the emotional connection, the harder it is to stop once you've started. Step 8. Protect momentum at all costs. Momentum is powerful but fragile. One bad decision won't ruin it, but consistent neglect will. Skipping one day might not matter. Skipping a week can kill your streak. The golden rule: never miss twice. If you fall off track, get back the very next day. Protect your momentum as if it were gold, because it is. Step 9. Surround yourself with energy. Momentum is contagious. If you surround yourself with negative, stagnant people, their lack of movement drags you down. If you surround yourself with driven, disciplined, action-oriented people, their momentum pulls you upward. Join groups, communities, or circles where progress is normal and excuses aren't tolerated. Environment multiplies momentum. Step 10. Let momentum redefine who you are. The most powerful part of momentum isn't the results, it's the identity shift. At first, you're someone who forces yourself to act. But over time, you become someone who naturally acts. Action becomes who you are. Momentum reprograms your self-image. And once your identity changes, action stops being effort. It becomes effortless. Momentum in real life. Think about riding a bicycle. At first, it's shaky, difficult, and exhausting. But once you pick up speed, balance becomes easier. You move faster, with less effort. Momentum carries you. Life works the same way. At first, progress feels clumsy. But as you keep moving, resistance fades, confidence rises, and effort multiplies. Soon, you're no longer forcing yourself into action. You're riding the wave of momentum. Momentum is the bridge between discipline and success. With it, you can achieve far more than you thought possible. Without it, even the simplest tasks feel heavy. The secret is simple. Start small, stay consistent, protect the streak, and let momentum carry you forward. Chapter 7. Mental toughness. The core of relentless action. Momentum can get you started, but mental toughness keeps you in the game when things get messy. Every big dream will eventually face roadblocks, unexpected failures, criticism, doubt, and days when nothing seems to go your way. It is at those times that most people quit. But the ones who push through, the ones who learn to act, despite pain, fatigue, fear, and uncertainty, those are the people who transform their lives. Mental toughness is not about being emotionless or robotic. It's about building a resilient inner strength that allows you to stay committed, focused, and determined no matter what. In this chapter we'll explore what mental toughness truly is, why it matters, and how you can cultivate it to fuel relentless action. What mental toughness really means. Many people think toughness means never feeling fear or weakness. That's wrong. Toughness is not the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. True mental toughness means acting when you're scared, persisting when you're tired, believing in yourself when no one else does, refusing to quit, even when progress feels invisible. It's not about perfection. It's about persistence. Why mental toughness outranks talent. Talent might give you a head start, luck might give you opportunity, but mental toughness is the difference between those who start strong and those who finish strong. History is filled with people who were not the smartest, not the most gifted, not the most connected, but they refused to stop. They built a backbone of resilience that made them unstoppable. When you're mentally tough, you don't depend on perfect conditions to act. You don't wait for inspiration. You show up, no matter what. The 4 pillars of mental toughness. 1. Emotional control. Your emotions are powerful, but they can also sabotage you. Mental toughness means acknowledging emotions without letting them dictate your actions. By learning to pause, breathe, and respond rather than react, you take back control of your choices. 2. Persistence under pressure. When things get hard, your brain looks for the exit. Mental toughness means resisting that urge. It's choosing progress over comfort. Think of athletes training in extreme conditions. They push through pain not because they enjoy it, but because they know discomfort is temporary. Growth is permanent. You don't quit because it's hard. You push harder because it's hard. 3. Focus in chaos. The world is noisy. Distractions are everywhere. Mental toughness gives you the ability to stay locked on your goals. When chaos swirls around you, while others chase trends, you stay on your path. While others panic in setbacks, you adjust with clarity. While others complain, you execute. Focus is your weapon, and toughness sharpens it. 4. Self-belief through adversity. The toughest battles are not external. They're internal. Mental toughness means building unshakable belief in yourself, even when circumstances scream otherwise. This doesn't mean blind optimism. It means a calm, unbreakable trust that you will figure it out, you can adapt, you are capable of overcoming. When others give up, your belief becomes your competitive edge. How to build mental toughness. 1. Train discomfort daily. Toughness doesn't grow in comfort. You must train it. This doesn't mean punishing yourself. It means practicing discomfort, so your tolerance grows. Every time you step outside comfort, you expand your capacity. 2. Reframe struggle as training. The mentally weak see struggle as punishment. The tough see it as preparation. When life gets hard, don't ask why me, ask what is this teaching me. Each obstacle is a test. Each failure is a lesson. Each rejection is a redirection. This mindset shift is the difference between quitting and growing. 3. Master your inner dialogue. Your mind is always talking. The question is it building you up or tearing you down? Mentally tough people discipline their self-talk. Instead of "I can't handle this," they say "I'll figure this out." Instead of "I failed," they say "I learned." Instead of "It's too much," they say "One step at a time." Your inner dialogue determines your outer performance. 4. Practice controlled exposure. Toughness builds when you gradually expose yourself to challenges. Just like lifting weights, you start small, then increase the load. Speak up in a meeting when you usually stay quiet. Handle one difficult task instead of avoiding it. Volunteer for responsibility that stretches you. With each exposure, your brain learns, "I can handle this," and with each win, toughness grows. Embrace the no-quit rule. The mentally tough adopt a simple rule. Quitting is not an option. Yes, you can adjust. Yes, you can take breaks. Yes, you can pivot strategies. But stopping altogether, that's off the table. This mindset leaves no room for excuses. When quitting isn't possible, action becomes inevitable. Mental toughness in action. Real examples: entrepreneurs who fail multiple times before finally succeeding. Their toughness keeps them going when logic says quit. Athletes who push through grueling training when their bodies beg them to stop. Everyday people who overcome illness, loss, or setbacks, and still find a way to move forward. These stories remind us, toughness is not about avoiding pain, it's about mastering it. The link between toughness and action. Here's the truth. You will not always feel motivated. Momentum will sometimes slow. Progress will sometimes stall. But if you are mentally tough, none of that matters. You'll still act. You'll still show up. You'll still move forward. And that's the secret. The mentally tough always find a way to take the next step. And in action, everything changes. Chapter 7 leaves you with this truth. Mental toughness is not optional. If you want lasting success, it's the shield that protects you from excuses, fear, and failure. And the more you build it, the easier it becomes to act boldly, consistently, and relentless. Chapter 8. Discipline Systems. Turning strength into daily action. Mental toughness is your shield, but without discipline, it's like having a powerful engine without a steering wheel. You may endure hardship, but unless you create systems that channel your energy into consistent, directed effort, you risk going in circles. Discipline is not just about willpower. Willpower fades. Discipline is about structure, habits, and systems that make action automatic, predictable, and non-negotiable. In this chapter, we'll go deep into how you can transform mental strength into practical, repeatable routines that guarantee results over time. Why systems beat motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Systems are structural. They hold you up regardless of how you feel. Think about it. A motivated person might wake up early for 2 days. A disciplined person builds a routine that gets them up at the same time every day, no matter what. Systems outlast moods. They remove decision fatigue. They put your success on autopilot. The formula of discipline systems. Building discipline doesn't happen by accident. It follows a structure, clarity of priorities, knowing what matters most, defined routines, structuring time around those priorities, triggers and reminders, cues that keep you on track, accountability, systems that make quitting harder than continuing, rewards and consequences, reinforcement that keeps the cycle alive. Let's break each of these down. Clarity of priorities. You can't be disciplined about everything. You must be disciplined about what matters most. Ask yourself, which 3 actions would move my life or business forward if I repeated them daily? What small habits, compounded over a year, would completely change my future? Discipline is wasted on distraction. Systems should protect your focus on the few things that create the biggest results. 2. Defined routines. Routines are discipline made visible. If you can turn your priorities into repeatable steps, you eliminate hesitation. Examples. If fitness is a priority, create a morning routine that automatically puts you in workout clothes as soon as you wake up. If writing is a priority, block 1 hour each day at the same time. No phone, no internet, just writing. If wealth building is a priority, schedule weekly reviews of your income, expenses, and investments. Routines make action automatic. They turn I should into I do. Use triggers that prompt action. Put your running shoes by your bed to cue exercise. Place a book on your desk to cue reading instead of scrolling. Use digital reminders to nudge you toward habits you're building. Discipline isn't about resisting temptation all day. It's about designing cues that guide your energy toward action. Declutter you accountability systems. Discipline thrives when you make your commitments visible. Left in the dark, it's too easy to quit quietly. Accountability can take many forms. A friend who checks in daily. A public commitment. Telling others your goals so backing out creates social pressure. When others know your standard, your excuses shrink. 5. Rewards and consequences. Your brain needs reinforcement. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about training. Set up. Make low rewards. Enjoy small celebrations when you keep commitments. Take consequences. Add small penalties for skipping action. Like donating money to a cause you don't support if you miss your habit streak. This makes your brain link discipline with satisfaction and failure with discomfort. Over time, it becomes natural to stay consistent. Self-discipline in different areas of life. Health. Without systems, you eat whatever is convenient. With systems, you meal prep, plan workouts and track sleep. Business. Work. Without systems, you chase tasks as they come. With systems, you block time, use project trackers, and review weekly progress. Finances. Without systems, you spend randomly and hope to save. With systems, you budget, auto-transfer savings, and review investments monthly. Systems bring order to chaos. How to build your first discipline system. Start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire life at once. Pick one key habit and create a system around. Example. You want to build the habit of daily reading. Tis to time. 8:30 p.m. every night. Choose the location. Living room chair. Add a trigger. Place the location. Living room chair. Add a trigger. Place the book on the chair in the morning. Add accountability. Track daily reading in a habit app. Add reward. Check off progress and allow yourself a small treat after finishing. Simple, structured, repeatable. Common. Discipline traps and how to avoid them. Common. Relying on motivation. Waiting to feel like it. Guarantees inconsistency. Systems remove choice. Trap 2. Overloading too soon. Trying to build 10 habits at once leads to burnout. Build one system at a time. Tap 3. No review. Systems need reflection. Without weekly check-ins, small lapses grow into failure. The disciplined person avoids these traps by staying structured and intentional. The discipline action loop. Here's the beauty of discipline systems. They create a loop. You design the system. The system forces action. Action brings results. Results reinforce the system. With time, this loop makes action inevitable. Success becomes not a matter of willpower, but of design. Chapter 8 shows this truth. Mental toughness gives you strength, but discipline systems turn that strength into consistent, unstoppable daily action. With systems in place, you don't have to force yourself to act. You act because it's built into who you are. Chapter 9. Mastering focus. Eliminate distractions. Maximize results. Discipline creates the framework, but focus is the fuel. You can have all the discipline in the world, but if your energy is scattered, split between endless tasks, notifications, and temptations, you will make progress so slowly that it barely shows. True success requires concentrated effort. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it with depth, intensity and clarity. It is the art of directing your attention like a laser beam, instead of letting it scatter like sunlight. The cost of distraction. We live in a world designed to hijack your attention. Every ping, every notification, every app is fighting for your mental energy. Research shows it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully regain focus after being interrupted. Imagine how much time is wasted every day simply recovering from distraction. If you check your phone 5 times during deep work, you may lose 2 hours of productivity, not from using the phone itself, but from rebuilding concentration. Distraction is not just stealing your time, it's stealing your life. Focus as a superpower. The ability to concentrate deeply on one task has always been rare, but today it's almost extinct. That makes it your secret advantage. If you can train your mind to resist distractions and lock into what matters, you will outpace 90% of people who are stuck in constant reaction mode. Focus turns ordinary work into extraordinary results. The 3 levels of focus. Focus operates on 3 interconnected levels. DEC, macro focus, long-term clarity, knowing your top goals for the year or decade. Meso focus, medium-term direction, knowing your priorities for the week or month. Micro focus, moment-to-moment attention, choosing what you focus on right now. Mastering all 3 ensures you're not only avoiding distractions, but also directing energy toward what matters most. How to build relentless focus. Ruthless elimination of distractions. You don't rise to the level of your focus. You fall to the level of your environment. If your environment is filled with distractions, focus becomes nearly impossible. Keep your phone in another room during deep work. Physical distractions. Declutter your workspace. A messy desk equals a messy mind. Mental distractions. Write down lingering thoughts before working. A brain dump clears mental clutter. When distractions vanish, focus becomes the default. 2. The power of deep work. Cal Newport, author of Deep Work, describes it as the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task. You must train your brain like a muscle. Start with short sessions of intense focus. Gradually increase to 60-90 minutes of uninterrupted work. Take deliberate breaks, then dive back in. Over time, your ability to enter deep concentration strengthens, just like physical stamina improves with training. 3. The one thing principle. Multitasking is a myth. Studies prove productivity drops when you juggle tasks. Your brain can only give true attention to one demanding thing at a time. Ask yourself, what is the one task that, if completed today, will make everything else easier or unnecessary? That becomes your focus. Everything else can wait. 4. Time blocking. Focus thrives in structure. Without a schedule, your day will be stolen by urgent but unimportant tasks. But block 2-3 hours daily for your most important work. Treat these blocks like sacred appointments. During this time, no meetings, no calls, no messages. Time blocking doesn't just protect your schedule, it protects your mind from decision fatigue. 5. Energy alignment. Focus requires energy. You cannot concentrate deeply when your body is tired, your brain is foggy, or your emotions are drained. Work on high-focus tasks during your peak energy hours, morning for some, evening for others. Save low-focus tasks like email or admin work for your lower energy time. Mindfulness training for focus. The practice of mindfulness isn't about spirituality. It's about training your attention. Spend 5 minutes daily focusing only on your breath. Each time your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Over time, you build the muscle of attention control. This simple habit makes it easier to resist distractions when working on demanding tasks. The flow state. Peak focus. When focus deepens enough, you enter flow, a state where time disappears, distractions fade, and you become completely absorbed in the task. Flow is not an accident. It's triggered when the task is challenging but not impossible. You eliminate all interruptions. You set a clear, specific goal for the session. In flow, your productivity multiplies. What normally takes hours gets done in minutes. Focus in different arenas. Business. Great companies don't chase every trend. They focus on one core advantage and scale it. Personal growth. Self-improvement isn't about trying 20 habits at once. It's about focusing on one habit until it's part of your identity. Wealth. Wealthy people don't diversify too early. They focus intensely on building one income stream, then expand. Focus is the common denominator of excellence. Common myths about focus. My way. I'm good at multitasking. Truth. You're just good at switching tasks quickly, which drains energy and lowers quality. Myth 2. I'll focus when I feel inspired. Truth. Focus is built by systems, not feelings. Myth 3. I don't have time to focus. Truth. You don't lack time. You lack priority. Focus gives you time back by eliminating waste. The focus action flywheel. Here's how it works. S. Focus deeply on one high-value task. Finish faster and with better quality. Gain confidence and momentum. The cycle repeats, compounding your results over months and years. Chapter 9 reminds us. Focus is not just another skill. It is the skill. In a noisy, distracted world, your ability to concentrate is your greatest competitive advantage. When you master focus, you no longer just force yourself into action. You multiply the impact of every action you take. Chapter 10. The Momentum Blueprint. Becoming unstoppable. Forcing yourself into action is only the beginning. Discipline keeps you consistent. Focus directs your energy, but the real breakthrough happens when you combine all of these into momentum. A self-reinforcing force that makes action automatic, progress natural, and success inevitable. Momentum is like gravity. Once you set it in motion, it carries you forward with less effort than before. Winners don't rely on constant bursts of motivation. They rely on momentum, which multiplies their actions and creates an unstoppable drive. Why momentum matters more than motivation. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes depending on your mood, environment, and energy. Momentum, on the other hand, doesn't care about how you feel. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Momentum says, I'm already moving, so I'll keep going. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and hard to push, but once it gains speed, it grows larger and rolls faster on its own. That's momentum. In your life, the 3 engines of momentum. Momentum is built when 3 forces align. That's discipline. The engine starter forces you into action, even when you resist. Focus. The steering wheel ensures your energy is directed toward high-value actions. Consistency. The fuel supply. Repetition creates habits, and habits create automatic momentum. When these engines run together, momentum builds exponentially. The science of small wins. The human brain thrives on progress. Each time you complete a task, no matter how small, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical that rewards progress and motivates future action. This means the best way to build momentum isn't by waiting for big wins, but by stacking small wins daily. Write 1 paragraph, do 1 workout, make 1 call. Each small win strengthens the momentum flywheel. Over time, the wins compound into massive results. The momentum flywheel. Here's how it works. Action, even if small, creates progress. Progress triggers dopamine, which builds confidence. Confidence fuels more action. More action accelerates results, which build belief. The cycle repeats, each turn faster and stronger. This is how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. Removing friction. Momentum dies when friction is high. Friction is anything that slows down or complicates the process of starting. Examples: a cluttered desk that makes work harder to begin, needing to drive to the gym instead of having a home setup, spending 15 minutes deciding what to do instead of diving in. To protect momentum, reduce friction. Keep tools ready, prepare tasks in advance. Simplify routines. Starting is effortless. The easier it is to start, the harder it is to stop. Routines that multiply momentum. Momentum thrives in structure. Here are systems used by top performers. Morning activation ritual. Start the day with a win. Journaling. Exercise or planning. Action first rule. Begin with the hardest, most important task before distractions creep in. Momentum streaks. Track your progress daily. Even one unbroken streak builds immense psychological power. Evening reset. Review the day. Set up for tomorrow and mentally close the loop. These routines remove guesswork and keep momentum flowing day after day. The compound effect of momentum. Momentum compounds like money in a bank account. The longer you keep it running, the more powerful it becomes. Day 1. You push hard. Day 30. The habit begins to feel automatic. Day 90. Action is your default mode. Year 1. You've become unrecognizable from the person who started. Momentum is why people who stick to something for years appear disciplined. The truth is, they aren't forcing themselves anymore. They're being carried by momentum in different arenas. Key. Health. One workout leads to better eating. Better eating leads to more energy. More energy fuels more workouts. The cycle builds a healthy lifestyle. Business. One client leads to referrals. Referrals lead to growth. Growth attracts bigger opportunity. Personal growth. Reading one page leads to finishing books. Finishing books leads to wisdom. Wisdom leads to better decisions and greater success. Momentum makes success look effortless from the outside. Guarding momentum against sabotage. Momentum is powerful, but it's fragile in the early stages. A few mistakes can break it. Key. Perfectionism. Waiting for the perfect plan kills momentum. Start messy. Refine later. Overcommitment. Taking on too much too soon leads to burnout. Build gradually. Negative environments. Surrounding yourself with distractors or doubters can derail your focus. Protect your circle. The rule is simple. Protect the streak at all costs. Momentum identity shift. The most powerful part of momentum is not just external results, but the internal transformation. At first, you're someone who forces themselves into action, but after weeks and months of momentum, your identity changes. Key. You no longer try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You no longer try to take action. You simply act. You no longer fight to focus. You live in focus. Momentum reshapes who you are, becoming truly unstoppable. When discipline, focus, consistency and momentum merge, you no longer stop when things get hard. You no longer wait for motivation. You no longer depend on external circumstances. You act. You adapt. You persist. And because you never stop, your success becomes inevitable. Chapter 10 is the grand build-up. The system that ensures you never rely on motivation again. With momentum as your ally, forcing yourself into action won't just be a one-time effort. It will become the very foundation of your unstoppable life.